Okay, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the end zone. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, James. I got my main man, Jamil, and I got my main man, Reggie, in the building. How y'all fellas doing tonight?
Good,
Doing well,
good,
man.
good.
How you doing?
Good, good, man. I've been away for a little while, man. It's good, really good to be back with you guys, man. I was watching the show while I was out of town. You guys were holding it down. Some really good topics. Um, uh it's just really good to be back in the building with y'all, man. A lot has been happening. Finals are over with. We're gonna talk about the finals, possibly cover a little bit about free agency, and then get into Dallas on a big topic. Talk about some of the things that they did well and some of the things that they didn't do. Um, and so let's just jump right into it. Um, what do you think went wrong for the Mavs? Um, they had a lot of things in their way. I don't know if they were really confused. The stage was too big. I remember some segments back, Reggie, we talked about when the lights get on, people can't step up. I know we were kind of talking about Dallas, but let's lead off with you. What do you think went wrong for the Mavs to why they couldn't pull this off?
Well, I think Boston, they looked at the tape and they said, "Well, you know what? We're gonna pressure Luca. We're gonna pressure Kyrie. We got the people to, and we're gonna make the others. We're gonna put them in positions that they've never been in, and they're gonna have to make some shots, and they're gonna have to make some plays that they didn't have to make against Minnesota and OKC." And it worked. And one thing about Boston, they're gonna keep shooting the threes, and they're deep. Most of their games. This is the crazy part. Boston, even though they won all of 4 games, this was the lowest point average they had of all the rounds of the NBA uh, finals. It
Oh
was
wow.
they scored the less points. They was averaging 110, 19, something like that, you know. But Dallas played pretty good defense, but
hmm
Dallas average drop too. They made Dallas average drop. And
hmm
I think the physicality and them, they're used to Kyrie and Luca leading. Somebody else had to step up and take that torch sometimes. And we Dallas didn't have nobody there. Now at the same time, Jason Kidd, I don't know how he was thinking, how his coaching staff was thinking, but Joe Mazzulla, he got out coached last year by Miami by Stroser. But this year they changed their staff and they got senior guys on their coaching staff. They made a lot of good adjustments
Yeah.
during the playoffs and during their finals, what I seen. You know what I'm saying? Because they surprised them. Hey, they put Tatum on the center. Hey, so they got somebody agile. Or when you come up with a pick and roll, they ain't got Harford up there. They put Harford on the smaller guy. So how
Yeah.
are you going to adjust to that? They cut the
You
lob out, and the lob was like that was a key factor to what they did against Minnesota and New Orleans. I mean, and OKC. They cut that out. The lob really out of the whole series, they might have had 5, 6 lobs.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah. And they average 5 or 6 lobs, almost a half, you know,
yeah,
going into it, and pretty much the announcers said that, and they said, "Hey, Boston took that lob out of the game," and like you said, Boston actually watched the tape where the final game, Brown was on Luca and kind of locked Luca down. He was mic'd up and he kept saying it. Luca won't touch the ball. Luca's not gonna touch the ball. It was his main purpose, if he didn't even score, was to make Luca not score. So they really did some good adjustments, and it was hard to tell, was it the defense on both teams, or was it just the fact that Boston's average coming down was the fact that they just matched up differently against Dallas. Give me your thoughts on how what Dallas, what they did wrong, Jay. What went wrong for
Yeah,
Dallas on overall?
yeah. I thought Reggie made a good point about um, Celtics out coaching them. Celtics had probably some more veteran coaches on that side, and the very first game of when the Celtics came and put Jason Tatum in all those pick and rolls by having him guard the five, I thought that was brilliant. I did not see that coming, and it took away their lobs. They took away the penetration of Luca. Somewhat took penetration away from Kyrie. I think Kyrie could have still got to his spots. It's just certain games he just decided not to.
Yeah.
So I thought that was brilliant. And I agree. I put the blame somewhat on Kidd and his coaching staff. They didn't adjust quick enough to me, to what the Celtics were doing and to them, and make some adjustments where the Celtics have to maybe look at something like, oh, I didn't know they was going to do that. They never adjusted to them taking their lob away. Maybe you could have. Uh, we were talking about this earlier. Maybe you could have put Luca at the five, maybe at the end of each quarter, just for some spells of the game. Maybe you could have put some different lineups in to have guys speed up the game. Maybe when Luca's out, you put some more speed out there, some more firepower in regards to guys more on defense, guys that are being way maybe more physical. Get a guy in there like Tim Hardaway that that's going to shoot. He may not guard anybody, but he's going to shoot. They just never adjusted. And then I just thought the stage was too big for some of the Mavs players.
Yeah.
PJ Washington, he looked at butt out there. He, especially in that game five, you could tell he was in his head. His confidence that was building during the playoffs for all three Western Conference rounds, his confidence just was not there. And I give a lot of credit to the Celtics in regards to something like that. The guy that he came into the finals with confidence, at least on the defensive end, but he didn't even provide anything on the defensive end. Even Derrick Jones, they didn't star in their roles. They didn't play the guys that you count on to star in their roles. You may not score, right? You may not give us 15, but at least you can make things difficult, right? For Jason Tatum, for Jalen Brown, and you may not stop them, but make things difficult where you have to have a guy like Derek White step up, right? And but they never had that. Either uh, Brown was on, and Tatum, if he wasn't scoring, he was giving you something else. He was giving you rebounds. They just never locked down any type of assignments that they had. And if you look at it too, this series really came down to one game. Came down to game three, where we saw Luka have a debacle with in regards to his temperament on the court, his lack of defense awareness. And so it came down to at least that one game where the Mavs did not execute, and their confidence in being on that big stage, they just did not have it.
I agree with both of you 100%. Can't say anything different. De facto, one thing, Celtics showed that they are a really talented team. I think a lot of us picked them to come out the East the last couple of months. We just were kind of up and down. We were really upset by the teams coming out of the West. A lot of us had Denver and Minnesota and OKC. There was a lot of topsy turvy between those teams. The Celtics showed you that you got Porzingis shooting threes, you got Horford shooting threes. Those are big men. They pulling the Mavs big man out. So you don't have a big man on the Mavs shooting a three like that other than Luca. And that exposed Dallas right there because no other teams really other than Denver had Joker. Minnesota didn't have both of their big men shooting threes at the same time. So really, uh, Boston is talented, and then they had a really good rotation. They had a solid rotation. The Mavs could not get into a good rotation, which I go back to what you said, Jay. They didn't play Timmy Hardaway enough, I think, to where he could have got going. giving them some speed, a little bit of more offensive power to take away, give Luca a rest somewhat, and bring some other people off the bench. Um,
Mhm.
what's the twins' name? Morris. I think Morris
March.
can
No,
shoot threes. They didn't play him at all.
nah, nah, he good. He good where he was at.
I think he could, but you got to look at it this way.
No,
You got to look at it this way. We didn't play anybody else. We didn't play anybody
the,
else.
I thought Kid was searching. I just thought the buttons he was pushing, there wasn't the right buttons because, like you mentioned, they Boston has great spacing, right? So they so you but you have big men that can move. Gafford and Lively, they can move, right?
They can.
A- And you also have you had I think I was mentioning you could have put Luke at the five some, and you also had the German that he can get out there
Keebler?
and Keebler, he can get out there and guard your five, right? So I think they could have went small when Boston went small. You go small, and I think when uh, when he put uh, uh, the former Mavs player, I forget his name. Oh gosh, uh, the unicorn, Porzingis. When they put
Uh-huh.
Porzingis in, then
Yeah.
throw your big man in, right? But I'm not saying that the Mavs had to stay small. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they had to stay small the whole time. But if they could have went small and created some space in themselves and just lock up your man, that may have worked. I don't know because again, like I was saying, like to me, guys like PJ Washington and Jones, they didn't star in their roles.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. So with game four, do y'all think that the Mavs played they butts off? Or do you think Boston threw that away? That's a big blowout. They were blowing them out close to 40 at one point. Do you think that game was given away, or the Mavs stepped up and played the way that they should and just didn't follow on with the future games?
I think I think the Celtics were feeling good, man. They came in that what was that Wednesday? Shit, they got a W, and man, they was like, hey, let's go get us some real good Texas steak, some good wine. They was chilling, man. What you what
So
you
you
think,
think they
Reg?
gave? What you think, Reg? You think they gave it away?
I think they said in the first quarter we're gonna see how they come at us. If they got the 50-50, because they got all Dallas got all the 50-50 balls.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
once they got the 50-50 balls and they like that, they were like, well, we can't catch them. Okay. We're right. We'll ride this out. We're going back home, but we got something for them. We
We
got
got
something
something
for
for
them.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Let's change it up a little bit and let's talk about Tatum. Do you think that Tatum should have won the Finals MVP, or do you think that should have went back to Brown? I know he won the Eastern Conference, and I'll start with you, Reg. What do you think about Tatum getting that MVP?
I know people look at, well, he had a couple 30-point games, but what I look at the consistency and the big
Hmm.
plays at the big
Yeah.
times. Every
Hmm.
time it was a big play at the big time, either Drew Holiday, White, or Brown had the ball in their hands. And they hit big shots. Not taking nothing from Tatum. Tatum he was leading in assists, he led in rebounds, he led in points. But the effectiveness of when you score or when you make that play played a big play in that. And we got to put at Brown. He took on Luca head on,
Mm,
and Kyrie sometime from 94 feet. So I think they got it right. I
yeah.
really think they got it right. I don't think Tatum should feel bad. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I think he'll have some more shots at it, but this one here, Brown, throughout the whole playoffs to me, Brown was the most consistent Celtic. You know what I'm saying? He
Hmm.
played his
I
role and he stepped up to the plate. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agree. I agree 1,000%. It seems like when Tatum scored 30, it's like I felt like, was I really watching the game? How did he get 30? It wasn't always consistent where you saw Brown scoring all the time. Brown always was in the game. It seemed like he never was off. It just seems like he was consistent throughout the playoffs all the way into the championship. So Jay, you think that Tatum deserved to get the MVP for the finals?
I wouldn't have been mad if he got it. You know what I mean? I think it was that close. Because if you know basketball, you could appreciate. if Tatum wasn't scoring at a deficient level, you could appreciate other things he was doing. Like I mentioned, they
Right.
had him playing the five,
Yeah.
and so you can
Yeah.
appreciate what he was doing. Where maybe the first two games he was trying to understand his defensive assignments, and I thought he did a great job. But he's trying to understand that where that possibly could have um, messed with his mental a little bit in regards to playing offense. But he was doing everything else, and so if he'd have won it, I
Yeah.
wouldn't have been mad at. It. But I agree with Reggie, like the consistency from Brown, the assignment he had, the big plays he had. I mean, he had some dunks that
Yeah.
we're gonna be seeing these dunks played for years.
Yeah.
Momentum changes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
momentum change. Yep, the
Yeah.
momentum changes that he had. Yep, and it was him.
And Tatum is one of my top. I think Tatum is in the top 5 for me in the NBA as players. A graduate of the Mamba Academy, studied under Kobe.
Top five?
I think top 5 because it's
Yeah,
gonna bring me.
Woo!
uh,
It's gonna bring me. It's gonna bring me into this next question for y'all. Stay tuned for this.
Woo-hoo!
Stay tuned for this, Reg. Do y'all think? Do y'all think with Boston winning the championship? Remember, we had a segment about the face of the franchise. We had maybe 3 players. We had Morant, but Morant kind of messed that up for himself. We had
mhm.
Ant, and we had Tatum. We remember we debated a lot about the players that wouldn't get it, but Tatum was in that conversation. You can't be
Mhm.
franchise. You cannot be the franchise of the NBA and face of the NBA and not be top 5. So where does that put Tatum? How do y'all feel about Tatum being the
Well,
franchise? I mean, face
I wouldn't say
conversation.
he's top five yet. That's what I'm. He can get there. I don't think he's top five yet. And I think because what I was saying was whoever wins this series may be the face of the league. But I still don't think Tatum is there yet. I think he
So
he has the potential to be there, but I don't
what's your
think he's there
definition?
yet.
What's your definition of face of the league? What gives you
Um,
that status?
it's well rounded. Like you got to have everything. You got to have some dog about you. You got to have some be able to take some criticism and give it back. I think that my guy right now is probably going to be once Braun steps away. It's props Braun Steph. I say Braun Steph. Once they step away, or once we see that their teams are not, I think Ant Man is the guy, and I think the NBA knows that. I think you're going to see next season, Ant's going to be the guy that they put out there, because he has the charisma, he has the game, he has the athleticism. The only thing that he doesn't have is the market. I don't think Minnesota's is necessarily a market that you want as one of your face of leagues, but I think the NBA they're not necessarily going to worry about that. I think he can carry enough that they'll be fine whatever market he's in.
Okay, same question, Reggie. I'm riding where you going with that, Jamil. I
Okay.
can see that. I'm interested to hear Reggie thoughts.
I'm with Jameer. I just don't see right now taking he won it, but he's good. He's not in top five.
Okay.
It's kind of hard for him to be in the top 10. I would put him in top 15.
Nah, he
Hmm.
10 now. Now you tripping now.
I don't know about 10. I don't know about
Okay,
10.
I'm gonna give y'all some names. I'm gonna give y'all some names that y'all might
I
think
mean, he's
is
close.
top
He's
5.
close.
I give
He's
you some
close.
names that
But
you might be thinking the
but
top
but
5.
but
Go ahead, Reg. Go ahead. I
but what
got.
I'm
I'm
saying
remember.
is, this is where I look at the face. Ed has that fire, that killer. But
Hmm.
you tell me, when did it, when did Tatum show you he want that ball in his hand and he gonna say I'm gonna take you. He don't have that. He'll get the ball in his hands, but he'll
Mm.
take a fade away. He'll do an off balance layup or something like that. But do, you know it when you feel it and you see it. You don't feel and see it with him. He's a great player. That's why I say I I don't see him being effective. Now, is he gonna get more publicity and all more commercials now? Yes, he is. Cause he's got that character, good young man.
Hmm.
Hey, he doesn't get in trouble, has a little son, blah blah blah. But his game doesn't match the NBA. What if you gonna stand out? If you gonna stand out, he's among the best. But I don't see him just being on that mountain and they saying, hey, that's the NBA.
I'm gonna
I
tell
don't see
y'all
it.
this. I'm gonna tell y'all fellas this. This is what I love about this show because when you guys come up with some facts like that, Tatum is very talented, but Reg said a key word, which was that fire, and that's the difference between Ant and Tatum. Ant has that fire. He goes hard every play. Almost reminds me of young Iverson. But he has that killer instinct, and John Morant had that same instinct. He just couldn't keep himself together as he may have wanted to or needed to have that status because he that was his for the taking, and he kind of gave it away. But I totally agree with Reg on the fact that Tatum doesn't have that. Give me, I need the ball in my hand at all time, and I'm taking it to the rack and killing everybody. He doesn't. He's just really talented, I think, to where it allows him to be able to shoot and do some of the other things that he can do and get away with that. Yes, sir.
To Tatum defense, though, I will say he plays within the Celtics concept of their
Oh,
offense,
yes, yes, yes,
and
yes.
so and so if I think if it's a close game, right? I've seen him plenty of times where he's coming off that screen. And he's giving like, hey, give me that ball. I've seen in the past, but I think this season their their system has been about spacing and getting guys the best look at a shot. It hasn't necessarily been, hey, I'm on the post, drop it down to me, let me go to work. I think that was their pass. And I think what helped them to excel this year was their offense, their spacing. So to his defense, I in the past he's been that guy, but I think now he understands that I don't have to be the number one guy every time we come down court or when it's the end of the game. I can let the offense still get fine. I can let the ball find me. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he got so many other offensive talents. I mean, you got you got
Yeah.
you got Brown. That's one of those things where he's allowing his team to play, where he's not getting caught up on the big two or the big three. He's actually what you just said, playing his role. But I also know the fact that Drew Holiday start controlling the ball as a true point guard opposed to
Mhm,
Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
That allowed you know what I'm saying? That allowed Tatum
mhm,
now to play a different type of role. As long as he does what he's supposed to do when he does have the ball, I think
mhm,
that's what sets him. And then you said something else key too, Jay. The fact
mhm.
that Ant being in Minnesota and that market. Tatum is in the perfect market, and from what I heard reports, Tatum is up for 315 million
Yeah, he about to,
Oh,
payday.
he
he's
got to get
gonna.
the
Oh,
bag.
that's gonna
He
happen.
gonna
That's
get that.
gonna happen. That's
He
gonna
gonna
happen.
get
He's gonna
that.
get paid.
Man, he's
He's,
gonna get paid. He's gonna be the highest paid player in the NBA, and I think that the face of the NBA is gonna really lean more
What
towards his way.
the is his quietness hurting him as far as being the face? Because I thought about that. I was like, he seems a little
yes,
quiet.
that does. You got to have some type of,
Charisma,
yeah. You got to have something that draw people. Say, well, that's a bad guy. That
like
that's the
Ant.
one. You
Yeah,
got to have
Mhm.
yeah,
something that draw. That's what we
yeah. I
like.
agree.
That's what
Yeah,
we
Yeah,
that's what
like.
people like. Yeah,
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 Yeah.
yeah. I
One
yeah. I
agree.
think,
thing.
I
yeah.
agree. Believe it or not, Brown does bring that. Brown
Yeah.
brings that. And if they had a little bit of a switch in that, Tatum would be just a beast. But I stand corrected. I think I would say top 10 for Tatum. Top five is a little bit difficult because I had to go
Yeah.
back and think of some of the people that we kind of counted
Yeah.
out,
We forgetting
like
people about
Giannis.
the players.
Yeah, I
We
forgot
forgetting
we
about a
counted
lot
out.
more. A
Yeah,
lot
we
of young
counted out
men.
some people due to the fact.
Don't forget about Giannis.
Yeah. We counted a lot of people out due to the nationality. The reason why they would not get the face. being
Well,
Giannis
I'm just saying
Joker.
top 10 players in the NBA. That's what I'm saying. When you say
Oh, I
top
know he
five,
is. I think he's top 10 for sure. He's maybe 7 or 8 somewhere
I would say 10.
somewhere in there, but he's in the top 10 for sure. So, with that being said, who else besides? Let's throw another name out there. Besides those two that we named, Tatum and Ant, who would be the third runner up in that conversation? Throw me a name.
Yeah, I
Start
would
with
say
you, Reg.
oh,
Oh,
let
I
you
was gonna
go
say
ahead, bro. Let me
go
I was
go
gonna
finish.
ahead,
say
Jay.
I
Go
was
ahead,
gonna right
Jay.
quick. Person can I would say Curry. I think you still got to put him top five.
No, he talking about the face. He
I'm talking
said
about the
face.
face.
If
The
one of them
face.
I'm
don't get the
sorry.
Yeah,
hoop,
yeah,
it's
yeah. The
over.
face.
My bad,
The
my
face.
bad.
The face.
Um, Luca. I think Luca's still in
Oh
the
no,
conversation.
no.
I think Luca. If Luca would have had uh, if he would have averaged what he was averaging in the other three Western Conference series, would he in the finals? I think because they was already saying after game, what game was that? Was it game one or going into game one that he was the best player in the league?
They're
They were
saying
saying it.
that's you hear that commentator saying. Let me tell you
Right.
something. After he showed out and got kicked, fouled out, and he did that, he's not gonna be he his. I'm telling y'all, his body type's not there. He's not in
Mhm.
shape. He doesn't play both ends of
Mhm.
it. He's not gonna be the face. He's gonna be a big time scorer, and they're gonna say, yeah, that Luka can score. But hey, the face of the NBA, he's not gonna be it, and he finalized it this series.
It was on the tip of my tongue when Luca got kicked out, and they kept talking about Luca cries after every call, and whether he's right or wrong, he's crying. That's not the face. Is not the face of the NBA is not going to be that.
No.
You know, 'cause no matter how talented you are. But who do you see, Reg? Who? Give me a third name that's laying in the cut that could possibly one good season change everybody's opinion.
I really have to think right now. I just see, like you said, I would say John Morant, but he got to reevaluate his whole situation. You know what I'm saying? But the young guy right now, I don't see it. I mean, we got a couple. You got a couple years, Curry and LeBron. After that,
Maybe
I just
maybe the
don't know.
guys maybe the guy's not in the league right now because one guy just thought about it, and I thought about it, because he's white, was Cooper Flag that's going to Duke next year. That dude
Hmm.
can ball. I don't know
Yeah,
if
he
y'all know
can
who that
ball.
is. He's about 6'9", about 210. He got handles. He'll bang on you. He got a jumper. He slashes. He does it all.
Y'all
And
think Wemby? Ooh, I threw that
Wimby,
out there. Wemby could you think Wemby could step his game up in about 2 years to be that guy? He's right behind. He's not a Giannis, but Giannis. When I look at where Giannis and Embiid, think about this, Reg. I see you thinking cap is moving. When they first came in the league, they first 2 years, were they doing what Wemby is doing now? I don't think so.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
think
Neither
so.
one of them were doing that.
Wemby came in a little bit more prepared. He need to put on a few more pounds, but he can do that. But I look at LeBron is probably one of the only players that came in the league NBA ready and sustained the level. But he stepped up every year. But I mean, he was doing what he was doing since he came in, and I see that in Wemby. Wemby just doesn't have any talent around him um, to help with that. But do y'all see him being that number three?
I think if
Mm,
Wimby, I think if Wimby starts doing things that he was doing in the French league, I think that's the only way that it's going to be possible. Where people are like, what did he do on the court? And if he starts doing things that we've never seen on the court, people are going to watch, and then the NBA is going to be forced to make him the face, right? Because now you're bringing in eyes that necessarily don't usually watch the NBA, and so they're going to be forced to say, hey, we got to start putting this guy on TV more. It's just the big man don't draw eyes anymore. You know,
Mm.
it's the guards, it's the slashes, it's the hot flyers, right? If Wimby comes on, I don't know if you remember, but he in one of the French games, last year when he was playing that one season with them, he shot from the 3 point line and followed his shot up and dunked it from
Johnson,
the
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
like that. That's crazy. Like who's doing that? And so if he start doing stuff like that, or if he starts, if it or his handle gets ridiculous, where even guards are having tough time with him because he's creating like KD. Yeah, we it's gonna be and don't get me wrong, he can do it, but we need to see him do it on a bigger stage. We need to see him do it more consistently, and it's possible. I like that Wimby. I
Yeah.
like that Wimby pick.
Yeah. Anything is possible, but it goes back to something Reg said earlier. What are you bringing for the fans? They want to see that type of excitement in a player. You got that in Ant, and you had that in John Morant, but you got that in Ant Man. Tatum could be that if he has, and I'm not saying I want Tatum to be like Ant and or John Morant. He has to bring his own swag,
Right.
but I do agree. We want to see somebody. Jordan, Kobe was dunking and doing all these different things. They bought that excitement. They bought that. This is what I want to see when I get in the arena, and so I think that's what we were used to, and I think that's what we looking at. So when speaking of looking at, talk to
Mhm.
me, Reg. Just gonna introduce you to your segment. One of my favorite segments of all of our shows. Tell me what your eyes have been seeing over this past week, man. Tell me
Well,
what your eyes
well,
see.
okay. For the basketball season, it was a finale in the finals. Dallas Mavs fans, hey, you surprised me. I told you got to the finals, but Boston showed you that you need to get a couple pieces to compete for the finals. Now, Dallas fans, take this one and take it, and hey, don't run with it. But Kyrie got you there, but Kyrie got to reevaluate what he doing in Boston when he goes plays because he was lost 3 games. I've never seen Kyrie play like that since I've been watching him play basketball. But I do have confidence in him. I think he's gonna recover, but I don't know when. But it's something about that Boston Green when he go in TD that's got Kyrie affected. Now let's get to the Celtics. Celtics. I know y'all was saying, well, hey, people was down you. They was down you. Jason Tatum giving interviews saying, hey, it's all right. Everybody said all this, criticize him and Brown. You know what now? Boston fans, they can't criticize you. You're champions. So all we can do is say now, the next thing, are you gonna be able to live up and win another championship? That's how that goes. When you win one, they want you to win two. So hey, Jason Tatum, congratulations. Brown, congratulations. The Celtics and Joe Mazzulla, you proven you're a legit coach in the NBA.
You know, very good point. And let's stick with when you were talking about Kyrie. Jamil, talk to me about why you think Kyrie has a hard time in Boston. That was a good point Reg
Just
brought
think,
up about the Boston situation.
I just think it's heavy on. He's going against his former team. His stay in Boston was not good. Um, he didn't leave on good terms when he was there. He was injured. He was probably going through a lot. Um, um, what else? I just think when he was in Boston, it was heavy. He mentioned that he necessarily when he got traded, he didn't necessarily wanted to go to Boston. Um, um, what else? Yeah, so I just think it was all of that. So when he goes back, it's difficult for him to play in a sense. Um, yeah, man, I think that's basically good. It's just difficult for him.
So
I guess the
Jamil, if you saying that, but he he had problems in Brooklyn
Brooklyn
when he left Brooklyn, but he still
act-
can go back to Brooklyn and play.
and actually he had the worst problem in Brooklyn because during
You know, he
COVID,
was doing all this stuff, but that's what I'm trying to say. So
yeah,
what do you think eh, eh, what do you think is the difference in Brooklyn and Boston?
Before you answer that, Jay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
add Cleveland because between Cleveland and Brooklyn, he was in the newspaper a lot more than when he was in Boston
Yes,
because
he was.
you're playing under LeBron and having bit difficulties. And I don't know if y'all heard the segment where LeBron got on and said, "Man, I'm so happy for him because he's doing it right now, but I'm so angry because he was so talented and we couldn't make it work in Cleveland."
Right, right. I
That's
see.
one thing. You see what I'm saying? That's one thing. And then he had a big three situation in Brooklyn with Harden and KD, and they still couldn't make it work. And
Yeah,
now I don't but he was in Boston first before all of that. I actually was in Cleveland before all of that. So that was a good point. Again, Reg brought up why Boston he having a struggle with and not those other two places.
Well, I mean, Boston, the legacy of their team, that area in regards to their fans, they're rowdy, man. And he went there as to lead their team to a championship,
yes,
right?
definitely,
And
definitely.
for him to probably go to a spot that he necessarily didn't want to go to, as he said, he didn't go around or make himself available to the legends. He even called them a cult. So you kind
Yeah,
of get a sense of what
Mm,
he felt about the situation in the Celtics. It probably wasn't necessarily for his liking, didn't fit his style. Um, he went out and made himself and said, "Hey, I'll plan on being here," just because he felt the love from the fans in that particular instance. But he probably didn't feel it on a consistent basis due to some of his own doing, like he said, and probably and also some of the doings of the fans. I've lived in that in New England area. They could be a little obnoxious in that
oh yeah,
area.
yeah, yeah.
And
I've been there.
so it's all of that. And then you go back to that place, you understand that the fans are, they don't love you like that anymore. Um, the mystique of the Boston crowd, the Boston Garden, all of that. And I think all of that played into a effect of hey, I'm a well-rounded man right now. I'm in a good situation. I'm currently in a uh, I know who I am. But then when he thinks about during that time when he was there during them years, I think it was a little bit heavy for him. And now you kind of seen it on the court. He just from game 4 and 3, how he
yeah.
looked at game 5, he did not look sure of himself, and he just looked at like he was reserved on just not leading his team to wherever they had to go. He was more playing the backseat, and I didn't like it. I mean, I think he's smart enough, he's skilled enough to get through it, but yeah, it definitely showed that he did not like his time in Boston.
I'll tell you this though, it's gonna make it better for Dallas because I don't know if he really wanted to come to Dallas. I remember Jamil, me and you having a conversation about. I was always hoping that Kyrie would sign back with Dallas after that first year or two. I was like, man, I hope he resigns and builds with the Mavs that make this his home
Mhm.
because he was getting ready to have to move from team to team. But the thing is, that situation with Boston should make him really a strong player. Look at LeBron; they were burning his jersey when he left Cleveland. He goes back and get them a championship, so you can win fans over again when they hated you. And LeBron had to play in a hostile situation, going back to Cleveland, going back to Miami, going back to teams that you left. And the fans understand it's a business, but like you said, also he made some remarks about Boston that put him in that situation. So he can only blame himself. He really I think, has to get mentally prepared for next season. So hopefully this taught him a lesson and will get him there. And so speaking of next season, fellas, let's switch the script and talk about free agency. I'm gonna ask a question about what top tier players are you looking at to possibly move this year? Yeah, yeah. Let's start with you, Reg, on free agency. Who do you see moving around this year that might shock some people?
Well, I think the number one is Paul George. Is he
That
going
was
back
it.
to the Clippers?
Those
Because
who I have.
They said Philly's gonna shoot their shot at him. They said Philadelphia gonna shoot their shot at him. If he goes to Philly,
Mm, mm,
Boston might
mm.
have if MB stays healthy, and that's the biggest if in the league. If Paul George goes to Philly, that will that will put them in that them in Boston. There'll be some pretty good games, and they got you got Klay Thompson. I don't think he's going back to Golden State because he wants a 3-year contract, and I think they only going to give him a year, and he's fell off. But whoever gets Klay too, that'll be a good. He still can get you 17, 18, 19 points. And he, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? He ain't the splash brother like that, but he's a good player. And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you got James Harden. I think he should stay with the Clippers, but like I said, you got Paul George and him need to get paid. What are they gonna pay him? You know, and you got who I think is asleep out there. What is gonna happen with DeMar Rosen? He's due. I don't.
Whew.
Is he going back to Chicago? I think he wants to go to a playoff team,
Yeah.
a contender where he can at least get a shot. You know what I'm saying? At getting a ring. That DeMar Rosen is a key one. I want to see how he going. Is he just gonna take that money, or is he gonna take a little cut, saying, "Well, hey, I want to play with better guys and try to get that ring." And hey, I know the Knicks gonna pay OG, but this is a fact I want to ask you, James. Do you think the Lakers should re-sign Russell?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
Russell should have been gone before the end of the season. He had a couple of good games, but I was happy when Russell left the first time. To be honest with you, I didn't ever think Russell was a good fit with the Lakers, um, and I think that it, if he moved out of that situation, it would open up the door for us to get somebody that could do something. But I want to go back to something you were saying about DeMar DeRozan. That was an excellent sleeper choice. I forgot all about him. And when I was talking about Wimby, I think if DeMar DeRozan and one other good player, can you imagine DeMar DeRozan and Paul George on San Antonio Spurs, what that would do for the Spurs? That would kill the West Coast, dog. That would kill the West Coast. DeMar
That,
DeRozan, Wimby, and Paul George.
oof.
I think they're getting away in his development.
Well, you got you. Those are two unselfish players. Those are two players that can score.
Yeah,
DeMar
but
DeRozan brings
they
some
need the ball in
defense.
their hand though. They both need the ball in their hand. They both need the ball in their hand, coming off screens, mid range. You,
I,
where Wimby gonna go? He gonna play three, and he gonna be in the wing. I mean, he gonna be on the baseline waiting for threes.
You got players that can create their own shots though. Also, Wimby has an opportunity to get a lot of buckets off the boards, offensive, defensive rebounds. And he's the fact that he can pull players out, like we talked about Porzingis, and we talked about what's his name from Boston, other big man,
Horford.
Hartford.
Horford. Wimby can shoot the ball like that. Just he can shoot threes just as good as Paul George and DeMar DeRozan. So the big threat. I mean, look around the league, Jay. Not a lot of teams have it to where one player is just going to be able to have the ball in his hands all the time. You got a lot of teams stacked where a lot of players want the ball in their hands.
Yeah, and I think Paul is most effective when he's coming off that mid screen at the
Hmm.
elbow, or he has the and he's dancing and he's getting to his spots. I think if you have, I think DeRozan and Paul play the same type of similar style. I just think Paul has a better outside long range shot. But if you got Wimby watching these guys dance, I, I don't know if I don't necessarily you want that like consistently because they got to get their shots up. Those two got to get their shots, and I think Wimby he needs to start getting 25 shots up. You know what I mean? He needs to, and they're going to take away his shots, and that's the point I was making.
So
But
you
he got to
think
have a
so you think Clay will fit better with Wimpy?
I think Clay will fit better. I think Clay will fit
Yeah,
better because he doesn't have to have the ball.
Yeah,
true, true. And I think he got to have a veteran, man. He got to have a veteran though to help his development.
yeah. He needs some veteran. He needs
He
some
needs a
Yeah,
veteran help.
veteran to develop him.
but I think he needs more of a guard, somebody that can space out, but not somebody necessarily that's gonna be coming off, playing within that foul line area or that 3-point area. He needs somebody
Okay.
that's gonna be able to space the floor out from a guard. I can see Trey. I heard Trey Young possibly going to San
Oh
Antonio.
no, no,
Yeah, I like that though, Reds. And the
no.
reason
I
why
don't like that.
I like that. I like that because Trey can
Trey Young
penetrate.
going where to where?
Possibly going to
San
get
Antonio.
possibly getting
They
traded
talking
to
about. They
San
talking
Antonio.
about he might be going to L.A.
I've heard that
I
too.
I I take Trey. I take Trey in LA because I know LeBron ain't gonna stay there. I know that he's not gonna stay there. I really want to get your thoughts, Jamel, on the players that you think are gonna move before I bring up that
Yeah, no,
LeBron situation.
I like everybody that Reds mentioned. One, the DeMar DeRozan was a interesting one because
Hmm.
he's definitely slept on, but he can be definitely a missing piece for
Yes,
the
A lot of
Mavs,
teams.
a lot
Oh,
of
oh
teams.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's what we
somebody
left off coming to the
where he
Mavs.
where he
but
doesn't
that's
have
why I
to.
say, can they
Yeah,
afford it?
yeah. Can they afford him? That's going to be the question
That's the
because it
key.
depends on what he wants. I don't know if he's definitely not a max guy, but
No,
he's definitely worth, I would say, 20 million, 24, 25. Um, are they willing to possibly do that? I think he'll be a guy that can, because he plays defense as well.
yeah.
You know, I'll be honest
Yeah,
with
that
you.
was a good pick, boy.
To be honest with you, and I know that I'm gonna sound a little bit crazy, but to me, DeRozan is more of a missing piece for a team that's close than Paul George.
I
I,
would
I, I
say
I'm
it
not I'm not
depends on the player. Depends on the player.
I'm not saying DeRozan is better
Mm.
than Paul. Don't
No,
get
I
me.
know what you're saying. I know what you're
I
saying.
know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Because DeRozan have a chip, right? DeRozan got a chip with
He
No,
got a chip.
no, he
He
got the
one of them
chip.
got
They
a
got the
chip.
chip after he got traded.
That's right. That's right. Matter of fact, both
Yeah,
times.
but I think for me, DeRozan would be more acceptable whatever role you put him in. I think PG gonna want to come there and be like, "Yo, I'm the second dude. I'm 1B." He gon' he ain't- he's not doing whatever the betterment for the team is. He's gonna say that, but he's still gonna come in there with, "Hey, I'm that guy," and I get it. He is that guy. He's
Yeah,
tough, but I think for the betterment of the team, sometimes you got to make a little bit of sacrifice. I like DeMar DeRozan to do that more than I like Paul.
I agree. And I think that bringing up DeRozan's name, Reggie, would be the perfect fit for Dallas. I think that he would be that fit. I
Well,
think that he plays defense, he's a scorer, and he's unselfish. And I think that not to take away the talent from Paul George, but I think that the Rosen we talking about a good fit.
so
And I think,
what about? Because I really don't think Philly's gonna sign Tobias Harris. What do you think about Tobias Harris going to Dallas?
but like you said, he don't step up for the big
But I'm
games.
just saying,
DeRozan does. Tobias, okay. I'd rather take Clay than Tobias. Tell you the truth,
No, no,
I
no,
would. I would.
no,
I
no.
would.
And here's the reason why. Clay don't play the defense like he used to, right? And Clay's a great shooter, but we're gonna need somebody that can play defense. And don't forget, Tobias Harris is a 6'9" guy. Clay is about 6'7". I think Clay's he's getting money right now because of the run that he's been on and what he did in the past. I think Tobias Harris still has about a good 3 years to be a good role player.
I can see
Even
that.
Clay's not even trying to be a necessary role player. He ain't trying to do it, man.
But
He
but
ain't.
but you know what, Jay? A lot of times when players go to different teams,
Mhm.
they try to reinvent themselves. Sometimes you got to look at this when we talk about NBA being a business. There's a storyline.
Mhm.
You talking about a player that already has multiple championships that has been written off. So a lot of times him coming to show that he still has the ability to support a team, he has a better storyline than Tobias. Tobias
That's a good
kind of
point.
been close. He been in Philly. He been in Clippers. He been on teams that possibly could have. He wasn't the difference maker that was going to make them go to the next level like Clay could really.
Yeah, no,
And
that's a good
and
point. I didn't think about that.
the experience that he brings to the
Yeah,
table
it's true.
really, again, players look to reinvent themselves when they go to a different team. And I'll give you an example. When Aaron Gordon went to Denver, I knew that was going to be a good fit. Him coming out of Orlando, I knew he had to be right there with a team that was right at the tip to get into that championship. See, I say that about Gobert. I thought Gobert was a good move going to Minnesota. That was a team that was on the rise. He was a good defensive player. Um, could help get them there. He wasn't trying to save the team. So I say that with DeMar DeRozan coming to Dallas. He's not trying to save the team, but he's hungry and he's been on the tip. And Dallas is a contender out of the West now. They just need a key player. So
Yeah.
let's talk about this topic that's been somewhat of a rumor, but I think it's been actually confirmed, and it was the fact that Bronny could get selected coming to Dallas, and of course you know whatever team Bronny goes to, that the talk of LeBron playing with his son is in the works or in the lurks. Let's start with you. Let's go back to you, Jamel. What do you think about Bronny getting drafted possibly by the Mavs? Is it a possibility? Do you see it happening? Would you want that? And possibly his father following him later on in a year or two.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I could see them making that gamble move in the second round to get Braun. That'll be cool if that was to happen, since we all live in this area. But I don't know. Because I mean, they would possibly put him on a two-way, and I don't think, from what I've heard, his agent say, they're not looking for a two-way. So if the Mavs, because that's the only way I could see him making this team, maybe, is possibly with a two-way. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting if he could. If they don't, if a team say, "Hey, we're gonna put you on a two-way," and like the Mavs, if they do that, then I could see him possibly being here, and I could definitely see LeBron saying, "Yo, I'm gonna go to Dallas because this is a big market as well," you know. And he
Give
understands if he brings a championship here, LeBron's gonna be beloved here, you know. So I could definitely see it. That
That'll be the only player to get championships in four different markets.
it'd
Anybody else got
be
four other than
would be
Robert Ory? But Robert Ory, man,
four,
big
yeah,
game
that's
Bob.
four.
But that's about four. That's four
It'd be
different
four markets.
championships.
Yeah,
But this is the thing, since all of us do live in this area,
yeah.
we know that the Mavs is under new ownership,
Ownership
and
too. Yeah.
we know what kind of arena is in the works to be built out here. What
Mhm.
when we talk about business, what kind of money that would bring in the Dallas Metro, the DFW area with that resort type casino arena, and you
Mhm.
got major players coming in here to play, the whole city be upside down, man. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that, Reg? What do you think about Bronny possibly getting drafted and LeBron coming this way if that's a possibility?
Not happening. Not happening. Brian is going to. Brian is going to. They. I was watching NBA today, and the guy that the draft guy came on. He only working out for two teams: Phoenix and LA. They don't want to talk to nobody else. Phoenix, LA, and LA is supposed to be the main one taking at number 55. And like Jamel said, they don't want no two way. Because usually if you get drafted probably 45 on down to 60, you get off two way.
Pretty much,
If
yeah.
LA draft him at 50 at number 55, pick 55, they're gonna sign him to a contract because his dad is gonna hold him there. But I don't think LeBron is up for moving his family nowhere, and they don't want to deal with other people like that because they'll say, "Hey, well, I'm gonna do this." They draft you, and have them general managers and those owners will switch. So I
Yeah.
think they're going for the sure thing, riding with LA.
And Reg, why that makes sense is because at that point, LeBron can negotiate a contract to keep him there and get another player because Bronny ain't gonna make a whole lot of money coming off his first two years. He ain't gonna sign no huge contract. So the Lakers still, if they got rid of Russell, like I said, they get rid of him, and I can afford to get rid of another player to bring in somebody good. I would take Clay. I would take Clay. The Lakers got some
There's a
money.
possibility.
Yeah, the
There's a
Lakers got
possibility.
some money, man. I don't think we don't have the money.
And
But
Clay
the point,
loves California.
yeah, he's
You
already
know,
there.
so with business though, you got Bronny gonna get a nice little check. He gonna get a nice little contract, and here's why: because he's gonna bring in revenue, and
Right,
that's gonna be in the negotiations.
but he's not going to get it to where it could affect not bringing in another player. What I
Oh,
mean is LeBron, yeah,
yeah,
LeBron
I,
can restructure his contract to allow that to happen. If I'm not mistaken, his contract is up to where he can construct it the way he wants.
Bron
Yeah.
ain't, he ain't reconstructing nothing. Bron understand he got like 2 years, 3 years tops. He trying to get it all he can right.
He gonna get
And
all his coin.
he
You
should.
know,
I think he
he
should.
should.
He should. But I would love to see Los Angeles bring in another player like I would. All the players that we talked about. We talked about the bias. We talked about DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan would be a good fit for that LA team if we got rid of Russell because we have ball handlers. You know, to run the point. It's no true point guards in the league these days. You could probably name maybe 10, but you got centers bringing the ball up the court. So the way the offenses are now, man, it's not about having a true point guard like back in the day. So it's a lot of talk, but the time is coming up soon. The draft is right around the corner, man.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no, I think Clay is I think Clay will be a good player for the Lakers. And I also think the Lakers need to get bigger and stronger at the in the backcourt. Like you guys need to tighten up on that defense. One player that y'all probably need to go ahead and go trade and go definitely go back and get is Caruso. Y'all need to go back and get Caruso, man. That was dumb letting him go.
Bron
Um,
didn't want him to go. Bron didn't want him to go either. Yeah.
yeah, man, but they need to go back and get him. So a defensive guy, again, guys that's going to star in their roles, 3D guys, allow Braun and Davis to have the space and the work and do what they need to do. And because I mean, with Russell, it's not that he's a bad player, it's that he's exposed on the defensive end, and then once he gets exposed in the defensive end, he lets it affect his offensive game. That's his problem.
Yeah. I wish Kyrie was available to come to LA. I'd snatch him up with the quick. Because LeBron want to play with him again. You know what I mean? LeBron, that would have been I would get send Russell over here to Dallas.
Braun, Braun don't want to play with that. Braun was like he was trying to take Kyrie shine. He seen Kyrie shining. He want to get into some of that shit. Yo, man, let Kyrie live, man. That's what that was.
Y'all missing, y'all missing,
Kyrie,
y'all
Kyrie went ahead and was like, "Yo, I'm up out of here, man. If I'm rocking with you, James, and then we rocking, right? You my big bro, and then we winning, and then I just bounce on you. Like don't give you no
yeah, I'm
explanation.
pissed.
I just don't want to rock with you no more, yo.
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm pissed. I'm pissed, dog. Especially if we on the verge of we could run this whole thing. I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
Exactly,
But again, fellas, we got to look at storylines. We got to look at storylines and what's going to put putts in the seats and what's going to sell tickets. And the
my
level of
feelings
talent,
hurt. Although you mean my feelings hurt. Your feelings hurt.
the
Your
the
feelings
the,
are hurt,
the
dog.
management don't really care about your feelings, dog. They don't really they care about
I'm
how many
saying,
beers
I'm
they
saying,
gonna sell and how many hot dogs and popcorn is going how many celebrities is coming to the game, bro. They don't really care about your feelings, man. It don't go like that. You be all right. You be all right,
Kyrie ain't
son. Nah,
Kyrie,
he ain't coming, man.
Kyrie loving in Dallas, man. They let
I
him
love
be.
it that he here
So,
too, man. To be honest with you, I told you I talked about supporting the team. I'm still a Laker fan, but I would
mhm.
support the Mavs, and I was talking about that before they even got to the finals because we all didn't really see that. Remember that segment we had? We were all just really
Ah,
pushing Denver.
don't say oh. I
Jay,
came out. I
you,
was like, I came. I said, yo,
it's a
watch out for the
possibility.
Mavs. I said, watch out for the Mavs and the Knicks. Do you
Reg,
remember?
you
You
remember
said,
that
yes, you
segment? Because
remember. Yes, you remember.
I don't remember that segment.
Yes, you remember.
I
I got
remember you pushing the
he
Knicks.
said
He
he said
said it.
Dallas could make it to the final. He did say that.
I
He
gotta
did.
watch some tapes.
Early. I was early on it too.
Yeah, he said he
Early.
did say it. He
I
did say
I could have sworn he said New Orleans, but I don't know. Well, look, fellas, this brings us to the close, man. This has really been great. Like I said, I missed you guys.
Man.
But this was some really, really good conversation talking about free agency. Um, and I can't wait to our next segment. Just a heads up, I think we going in the summer league. We're gonna have just a little sneak peek. We're gonna talk about our NBA summer league coming up and possibly the Olympic team. What are y'all thoughts on that? So just to get a fans a preview of what's possibly to come. We'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. Our subscribers that's been faithful to us.
Yep.
Again, we always want to thank y'all for tuning in, watching us, supporting us. We trying to give y'all the best that we can, and we have more material coming up.
Leave your
The crew,
comments.
yeah, please continue to leave comments, continue to like us. We love y'all, and we'll be back next week and go at it again. We should have a full crew, and we'll be ready. So on behalf of myself, Reggie, Jamel, all of the supporters, thank you for tuning in on the end zone, and we out of here, and we check y'all out later.
All right.
Peace.
Peace.
Yes.